everyone. This Monday, November 7th, 2022. My name is Kim Lantis. Joining me is America Guerrero.
Hello, it's
Hello,
Monday.
hello.
I'm no
It's
longer sick.
Monday. And
Yeah.
we're here for our Dojo Live recap show. So, what do we do in the recap show? We recap last week's show. We tell you all about what we thought to hopefully encourage you to watch them if you didn't get to yet, or rewatch them if you already have, right? You can do so at dojo.live. So we'll go ahead and get started. Last week was a full week with 3 shows. Kicking it off was Susan Jeffers, CEO at XY Retail. Following that, we spoke with Art Chan of AWS, Amazon's Web Services, as well as Jose Murillo of Ancora. And wrapping up the week was Joe Baffone, who is the co-founder and CEO of Annexus Health. So first up, let's talk about Susan's show. Again, Susan Jeffers, founder and CEO of XY Retail. She shared her initial funding journey and all about how the journey of a minority female founder and CEO, what that was like to raise her funding at XY Retail. So what did you think of Susan's show?
I think that she's a woman who's always traveling. That is what I learned from her, part of her personality, whose passion is fashion and tech. And what I really liked about the show was the topic itself. She started by explaining her background, her culture, by sharing that she has always been a minority. But she feels like comfortable with that. She owns that. But she noticed that as a woman from India, now in Bali, the experience it's different when you're talking about the investment community. So when you want to prove the vision of your company or the product, you need to go way higher. And she also gave us recommendation tips. It was a really, really interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point is it's still a challenge, right, for women to sort of break through. And her advice, if I recall correctly, was just come prepared, right? We need to be, and I think that's good advice for anyone. when you're looking to raise funds or anything of that sort, be as absolutely prepared as possible, and come with good, strong ideas, which she did, and yeah, and like you said, just to be very comfortable in your own skin, to own it, and that will help get you far. And of course, we're thankful for women like Susan who kind of help pave the way for more women to follow. And the XY retail journey is an interesting one as well, right? Where they're focusing, I think, on luxury brands and really helping that entire process, so that there's a greater communication, more efficiency across communication of different stores, and even like with the providers and everything else, and manufacturing. And I think it's just fascinating because at least for me, like I walk into a store and it's easy to just pick something off of a shelf and walk out, pay for it and walk out, right? But there's so much more that goes beyond that in the manufacturing world. And it's fun to see how they're helping to make that a lot easier.
Yes.
Perfect. So up next was a really great show. It's actually the first of a 4-part series that we'll be having here on Dojo Live, and it's all about AWS, Amazon Web Services. Kicking that off was Art Chan, who is a senior partner solutions architect with AWS, and Jose Murillo, who is a senior DevOps engineer at Ancora. And so they talked all about how right now is the right time to migrate to the cloud, and really how cloud migration can bring certainty into what is right now a relatively uncertain time, and really touching on those business values of what can be gained by moving to the cloud, and of course, tips on how to get started.
Yes, it was all about migrating in the cloud, cloud and tech. So I remember, Kim, that you talk about the certain times, and now there are occasions, there are tech leaders that find out that their products are no longer hot markets, or there are products that are really good. So what do you do when it happens, when this happens?
It's all about, I think, why right now, especially right now in a relatively unstable, uncertain time. But I think it's a great move to the cloud regardless, because the biggest benefit that they were talking about is how moving to the cloud in terms of infrastructure gives you elasticity, right? It allows you to shrink or to expand much easier, much quicker. than you might otherwise. And also like what's happening even just with supply chain and even not being able to get the materials that you would need for your infrastructure and your servers and things like that. So to put it on the cloud, right?
Yes.
And it just really only pay for what you're using, right? No less, no more. And I think that's something that can bring comfort in times like these. And of course, the tips and tricks on how to get started. And leaning on expertise of others is one of those ways when you want to make that move, just to make it smoother and more efficient. Make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. So yeah, check that out. Next week, we'll have part 2 of the AWS series. And then, of course, wrapping it up was Joe Baffone, who is the co-founder and CEO at Annexus Health. This show was all about digital connectivity and the patient access journey, really specifically talking about how healthcare providers, that's a tool for the provider, how healthcare provider organizations and life science companies can leverage digital solutions and tech-enabled services to improve access, speed, and adherence, right, to the critical care of their patients. What did you think of this show, America?
I think that it's really important the technology that they are providing. I know that having cancer is a really difficult disease, and when you have it, and not in my experience, but I know that the less that you want to think about is paperwork or how to learn to use the software to do that easier. So it's really amazing the passion that is behind that technology and how they are helping, the society. It's really cool.
Yeah. And I think Joe's story and his co-founder story is an interesting one. He traditionally comes out of, I think, the pharmaceutical side of oncology, but has shifted to the tech side. And what this was really beautiful story is really about accessibility, where it's the providers themselves, the healthcare providers, who are able to offer this service to their patients. And primarily that service is being made aware of different types of support that is out there for their patients, right? And a lot of that comes in the terms of financial support and things of that. He told a beautiful story about how a provider within had, was working with a patient, and that patient wasn't sure of how they're going to be able to pay for their care. And so they were contemplating or ready to put their house on the market. And then just days later, that provider started utilizing Annexus Health and was able to find alternatives for them quite easily, and was able to save someone from needing to sell their home, which is, I think, really beautiful. And so that's really what it's all about: efficiency, money savings, and making, therefore, the experience for the provider and, most importantly, the patient a better one, as good as it possibly could be under trying circumstances. And they're expanding, right? It's not just focused on oncology anymore. I think he mentioned about 14 other healthcare elements that they're able to tap into. So that's beautiful. So check out those shows. They're all great. A lot of people with a lot of heart right here on Dojo Live. And of course, this week we've got 2 shows coming up. What are we going to be doing, and who are we talking with this week?
Yes, tomorrow we are going to have an interview with Jaya Kishore Reddy Gulareddy, co-founder and CTO at the company Yellow AI. And the topic is going to be about the evolution of conversational AI. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have another show with Daniel Kiva, VP of Finance at Paddle. And the topic is going to be about payments and billings, choosing the finance stack for your SaaS. All the 2 shows at 10 a.m. Pacific.
10 a.m. Pacific. We're all like discombobulated, I think, with daylight savings. I'm a little sleepy today, but that's all right. All right, everyone. So we'll catch you right here on Dojo Live tomorrow, 10 o'clock Pacific, as we talk to Yellow AI. Bye for now.
Bye.